This is something I'm talking about a lot. Trading will expose your relationship to money and how you are with money. So if you go in your bank account right now and it doesn't look as healthy as it should do, but you work 9 to 5 and your bills might be down here, your income might be up here, but this always seems to be not enough. Trading will expose how you are every single day, how you treat money, how you think about money, and how you talk about money. So if you're someone who's sat there right now and you've got an abundance of it and you seem to breathe and money comes to you, right? That's where you want to be. But a lot of you will talk so negatively about money. You'll talk about how the money side of things isn't where you want it to be. You keep getting bills. You're behind on your credit card payments. Your mortgage is coming up, or I don't get paid enough at work. And all that the universe hears, if you will, is that lack, lack, lack. So it'll continue to give you that until you shift your mindset and you shift your perception on how money is. In this, you have to understand that trading is so easy. You're the person who makes it difficult. You're the person who gets in your own way of making profits because it gets to £20 and you see take profit fours at £33. You want that extra £13 because you know what your bank balance looks like. And I say this on all of my calls. If you understand what the moment that you put in that 500, that 1,000, I just had a client today put 109,000 euros in, right? I said to him, what are you willing to lose? He said 100. I was like, this guy's got a Rolex on, sees nice trainers. He just bought me lunch. 100. I was like, man, 100's not enough, like nowhere near. He's like, all right, okay. So we ended up parting ways anyway. I didn't put any pressure on him getting started because I thought he only had 100 euros. He sends me a message saying, hey, Brad, just to let you know, is 109 enough? He said, I've liquidated some of my stuff in cryptocurrency. And I was like, no, it's not. He sent me a print screen. It was 109,000. So there's levels to this game on where people's disposable income is. So there's enough money out there for every single one of you to achieve. And when it comes to the mindset behind and the psychology behind money, we all can have whatever we want. We just have to start to build that relationship with money, start to build the relationship with what it is that we want. And trading can start that. All you have to do is the moment that you deposit money, because I see the support channel every single day. People telling me they've lost £3, £9, £200, £500, but it's all relative to your account balance. The problem is some of you aren't comfortable with losing money yet. You're not comfortable with the amount of money that you put in because it might have stretched you a little bit too far. So as we go through the process and the journey with this, you will get to a point real quick where it'll expose your weaknesses as a human being. I remember clutching onto them 10 euro trades, 7 euro trades, 5 euro trades. I'm speaking euros now because I've lived over here that long that pounds a second currency, if you will. But I got so used to clutching onto that money that I wasn't letting anything in. I wasn't letting anything come into my life that could serve me to make me money. And then when I was making money, I got greedy. My emotions kicked in. I wanted to make more. So I placed more trades. I traded a bit more, aggressive, if you will. And a lot of you will have heard this story already where I took a £500 account to 46,000, lost it in 2 hours because I was trying to chase it. And the markets, excuse my French when I'm on these calls, but like the markets will fuck you enough when the money makes a lot of sense to you. If you're okay with putting a few £100 in here and there, it's okay to lose that. It's okay to lose that. But when you get to 5, 10, 15, 20, 30,000, 40,000, right? Someone's just said, I over leveraged yesterday and got greedy on 2 trades, which hit stop loss, right? Because you go on a running streak, telling you it happens. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. I promise you this, right? You'll get to a point where the markets say to you, you haven't learned your lesson yet, start again. You haven't learned your lesson yet, start again. You haven't yet learned your lesson yet, start again. And you get to that rinse and repeat cycle. The problem is most people quit after the first knockdown. And that is why the vast majority, 96% of the population lose in the financial markets. 96%. So you guys right now are probably part of the 4% who are still here after losing accounts, after blowing money, after getting beaten left, right, and center, right? And this is why I love the trading game, because it exposes you. You can't hide behind someone. The amount of times someone goes to me, my internet dropped, and I happen to play 62 trades. You're a liar. Right? The markets will get to a point where they're telling you, listen, you're struggling, you're struggling, you're struggling. And all you've got to start to do is to adapt that, learn and listen, adapt it, and first of all, recognize it. And I'm telling you, I'm starting off with this because people who take this on board and they truly understand it, the markets are like a walk in the park. You'll place a trade, you'll go about your day, you'll come back and you'll be like, oh, take profit two. Oh, take profit one. Oh, take profit one. Take profit two. Take profit one. Sweet. Whereas the vast majority of you are like, I've placed a trade, I over leveraged, it's in drawdown, which means negative equity. So I'm currently like minus £20 when I should be minus two. And you're like this all day, right? You're checking your phone left, right, and center. I used to check it on motorways. I had to delete MetaTrader 4 off my phone in my first 6 months because I was nearly having car crashes on the motorway because I was £3.60 down. I was like, Brad, you'll pay that on a maca latte, cappuccino, whatever the hell it is. And once I removed the emotional psychology around money, and I actually went to the roots of it and found out where it came from. And I shared this on another call where my granddad was a gambling addict. He passed that down to my mum. My mum passed that to me. I saw all the shit that went on, the amount of money that he lost. So my brain doesn't like losing money. So if you guys can get to the bottom and the root of where you are, what you're doing, the amount of money you want to make, like if you could, in fact, write it in the chat, only I can see this, don't forget. What would be an ideal amount of money per month for you to be able to quit your job and just focus on doing something like this? Like, what would be an amount of money? 2K, 700. Not sure what listen, I'm not sure where you're living for 700 a month, right? But for those of you, and again, those of you who've already quit your job, like you obviously want to grow. So what's your ideal income? Like for you to get to a point where you're living your best life. I'm not talking like breadline, paying your bills, shit like that. And a lot of people, you were saying 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. If that's the case, I can get you another part-time job on an evening and you go work that and you can do that. You'll make an extra couple of grand a month on top of. Like the numbers that some of you guys are thinking of is the reason why you're not making the money that you should be. Because you're aiming for 2,000, you're hitting 2,000, and there's no pressure or push through to get to that next level. So if you understand that everything that you're doing and the way you are right now, you've almost got like a financial thermostat, if you will. And the vast majority of you are just turning the heating on enough to warm you up, then you spend it. Enough to warm you up, then you spend it. Enough to warm you up, then you spend it. But if you understand that you're capping yourself based on what you're thinking and what you're typing, like those of you in here who wrote 2K, 3K, you could have very easily wrote 20. You could have very easily wrote 30. But the reason that you didn't is because there's a limiting belief in your brain that stops you from thinking that that's financially possible for you based on conditions that are being put upon you from people around you. Once you start being around people who are making like 50, 60, 100, 200K a month, you realize that you're earning fucking buttons. You're grafting your balls off every single day, and the money that you earn is nickels. So like for me, when I'm looking at how I learn and how I grow, like I studied Bob Proctor, I'm reading Think and Grow Rich, I'm reading Trading in the Zone, and I'm looking at all of the psycho side of it, of how my brain works to make me think about certain things. Like that's, I was coached by Bob Proctor for 6 years. So listening to how he taught and how he moved and how he made your frequency think on a different level. Because what you will find is once you grow as a person, the people that you associate with and you spend time with, I'm not saying cut your friends off, but you will start to realize, man, I'm having some monotonous conversations here. And it's because you're in that like crab mentality where you start to grow, you start to think different. And some of the social circle, they'll start to dish you to an extent as to what it is that you're thinking is possible. Like the income that I'm making now, fuck my life. Honestly, it not that it boggles my brain, reword that, delete. It amazes me because I'm now sat here. What I wrote out a year ago to the day, actually yesterday, the 23rd, I've achieved literally at 90% of the stuff that I wrote down. But a lot of you are afraid to write it down and actually have it visible because you truly don't believe it yet. And a lot of you will be like, well, Bradley, why are we not sat on a chart right now? Why are we not looking at gold? Why are we not looking where gold's going to go? Because it's got nothing to do with it. Gold could go on a rampage for the next 90 days and you would still lose money. Fact. Right? I'm telling you this because I did it with Dow Jones. It went on a rampage for a long time and I lost money, blue accounts, because I was trying to catch the sell. So if this feels like a personal attack on one of you, it's not. But if it's hitting a little bit, that's good. Start making notes of this stuff. Like, what is it, the root cause as to why you're not getting how you're getting? Because the trades are hitting. We had a 100% success rate last week, yet some of you blew your account. Make it make sense, right? We've had 2 stop losses this week, yet some of you are blowing your account. Make that make sense. But what happens is the greed, the over leveraging, the invincibility kicks in, and you guys get to a point where you're like, man, I can just listen. This one trade, I get this one trade right. I better pay my mortgage. It wins. Man, I could do that again. And I always wanted to take the kids to Disneyland. You win, right? Disneyland booked, mortgage paid. I've always wanted that new CLA Mercedes. It's only £350 a month. Well, done. You win. Just as you're about to withdraw, a gold trades comes through. We've had a 100% success rate all month. You place it, you fucking lose every penny and you quit. And I'm saying again, I have these scenarios written down from 7 years worth of clients, almost 8. And the reason that I share stuff on mindset and stuff like that is because it's 95 to 99% of why people lose. Because they're not thinking about the withdrawals. They're not thinking about the end game. They're looking and thinking month to month because we're conditioned to live in a very, very simple way. Go to school, get a good education, get a job, get a wife by 30, live until you're 65, retire and die. That's the cycle that every single one of us is put on. And for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't fancy that journey. So like for me now, that's why, I'm looking at putting so much more into this because I'm like, right, I've got messages today where people are going down on days. People are going from 5 days a week to 3 days a week. They're spending more time with the kids. They're able to take their kids to school. I don't know how many of you in here are parents, but how many of you would love to do the morning run, but you can't because you've got, other things to do with work, right? Yes, yes, yes. So there's a lot of people in here who are family people, but you can't do them little things because of the job. So with this, like, that's why I'm saying with what we're doing right now as a system, we've got something that you can come in, plug in to learn. I'm going to continue to do a lot more of these, and that's why I like doing this where it's direct message to me. Because if you guys can get to a point where you feel comfortable asking me questions, we can take calls like this and I can do trainings on things. Like if you're at a point where you're wanting to know specific things about the markets or about mindset or, getting to a point where you can quit your job, getting to a point where you understand the ins and the outs of things is going to get you to a point where you know more. So if anyone's on here right now and you want to ask certain questions and you want to understand certain things, let me know, pop it in the chat and we'll go through things together. I'm going to jump on some charts in a minute and just show you what we broke down. I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago now. But for me, this is where when I understand how the markets work and I understand the longevity of this, like we're in a very, very good position to get to a point where in some time you guys can quit your job and you can get to a point with this. Someone's just asked, how do we become a consistent, profitable trader? Remove you. Right. In fact, let me just share my screen real quick just so you can see this. So um I popped this into the I think it was around here. So I popped this into school, right? Some time back. The markets were hovering and bouncing below here. So for those of you who've never kind of seen how I chart up before, I look for support and resistance, also known as like the floor and the ceiling, if you will. And then I will base my trades. This is for me personally, right? If I'm not, if I'm not following any strategy or signal, if you will, I've got my own style of trading. But if we look at this, how this played out, basically on this one, we were looking at if the price went below here, retested, we were going to see the down market. If price broke above, clearly above these, retest and then go above. So if we look at exactly how this played out, I'll show you guys where we could have entered. So here we've not broken above yet, right? Still not. That's now a break of the play. So now on this time zone, if we just jump down a tiny little bit, what we're looking for is price to push up a little bit, come back down, and then take off a little bit more, if you will. So there would have been our entry point. Price broke above, re-entered here. And if you look on the trades that we sent out, I think it was around here, maybe a little bit higher, waiting for confirmation. And then price pushes to the up. And then again, the same, low and a high. You can wait for price to break above. It does. Come back down to retest and then push again, right? And that's where we sent the trade. Price broke above, came back down, broke structure, trade was sent, and then we ran. So understanding this here means nothing. These candles mean absolutely diddly squat to you guys. Every single one of these, it's just time. Because we can send out sniper-based training, sniper-based entries. And if you haven't got the emotional discipline to understand how to take this, and again, let me go back to here a second and I'll show you this, because this is one thing that I kind of really like sharing. Shit. Someone just tried to jump in there. Okay. So where we sent the trade was there. Okay. So the trade was sent. Let's just we'll call it bang on 12 o'clock, just for easy numbers, right? 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. But let's say, for example, how long are you willing to sit in a trade and not check your phone? Because if you'd have just held this for like maybe 1 or 2 hours, for example, take profit 2, take profit 3 gets hit. But a lot of people, they want to hit take profit 4, which I get from a risk to reward perspective, it's better. So this was a 3.71. So 1% risk would have got you 3% growth, just as an example. But are you willing to wait? That was hit at TP4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 hours. Most people can't wait 14 minutes without getting a little bit itchy, right? They start to panic a little bit. They start to get the fear that the trade's going to go the wrong way, or they maybe try and put some sells in around here when they shouldn't be doing. And they get caught in a position where, the trades are moving wrong. So with this, if you can understand that the discipline of your trades and how you enter, if you just aim for TP1 and TP2 every time, and this is how we do it with the trades. Okay, so you might see I just had a question there because this is sparked this. You might see us say close TP1 now. If you're trading at 0.01, you have a decision to make whether you close that trade or you adjust your stop loss to above entry and then let it keep going. When we say close at TP1 now, what we're doing from our side is we're partially closing some of our trades. Let's say we use 0.04 as an example on this, right? So 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. If you don't know what this is yet, jump in school, check it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to close 0.01 of that trade. So we've now got 0.03 running. When it gets to TP2, we'll close off them. So we're now left with 0.01 running. But we've closed out three trades in profit, sorry. A lot of you are leaving your trades running to hit TP4. You go in profit, spikes out, stop loss, break even, runs and hits take profit. How many of you has that happened to? Like, drop a one in the chat if you've been to a point where you've been nicely in profit, you'd have been happy with it, but it hadn't hit your take profit yet. And I know there's a guy on this call who I shared this with a little bit ago. And for those of you on the last call with me, I called him out, James Batchford. But he said that he's been adopting this and he's found it's heavily benefited him because the trades are hitting TP1 and TP2 more frequently. So his emotional side of it isn't caught up in thinking, look, when's it going to hit TP3? What if it hits stop loss? What if it goes back to break even? What if the trade loses? So that the emotional battle that you're having with yourself is a lot less. So for me, I also still have that emotional battle every now and again. So that's why I only put TP1 and TP2. There might be the odd time where I forget to put a take profit and I come back and we're at TP 72 and I'm like, yes, let's go, right? But as we go through this, you have to set that discipline with you. Like, how many of you here work out every single day, train every single day? How many of you, eat every single day, drink every single day? Some of it becomes such an unconscious conscious that you get to a point with this where you're just doing it anyway. Like, have you ever found it difficult? If I said to you right now, focus on your breathing, you're like, it becomes more difficult. The moment we get involved, it becomes more difficult. Looking isn't difficult until I say to you, until you go to an optician's and go, they look left, look up, look down, look to the right. You start thinking, shit, it's difficult to look left and right. But because you're doing your day-to-day stuff, it's an unconscious thought of your brain. It's easy to do. Breathing, hard to do when you start thinking about it. So if you can get to a point with trading where you look and go, trades come in, stop loss, take profit, done. Go about the rest of your day. And you're only aiming for take profit one, and you come back and 95% of the time it's hitting take profit one. Think of where your account would be in 6, 12, 18 months' time. You'd be in a much different position. We've done the compound calculator, so I'm not going to hit you guys with that again. But understanding that when you come into this, if you've got the capability to, the account balance, if you will, to risk 4 trades, let's say you've got a £500 account. Average stop loss is what? 80 to 90 pips, let's say. So let's use 100 pips just as a top end. Worst case scenario, that one trade will lose you 10 quid. Which, if you have 4 of them, that's £40, which is about 8%. Okay? But if you know that off the back of that, 3 of them are going to hit TP1, TP2, 95% of the time. That's statistics that I've run off since the new traders come in. TP1, TP2 gets hit like that because we can see it coming into the chat. TP3, TP4 might take a little bit longer, but that's why some of you aren't here for that yet. You're here to hit TP1, TP2, TP1, TP2. Get some bank, get some wins. On a Friday, withdraw a little bit of profit. Treat yourself. I've seen guys in here making so much money that I'll be pissed if they don't take some money out tomorrow. I'll be pissed. I've seen some people making some serious money this week. So someone said, I'd love to know the difference between entering one trade at, say, 0.04 to TP4, then partially close. Okay, that's a great question. So this gets asked a lot. So instead of opening 4 individual trades, can I open one at 0.04 and just aim for TP4? Yes, you can, but that requires then this. How often are you looking at your phone? I want my screen time personally as low as possible. I don't want to be attached to something that controls me. Anything that controls you, like this isn't a device for us to keep in contact with people because we're the least connected age that has ever existed. None of you ring people anymore. You're WhatsApping, you're texting. Most people aren't connected. This is to control us based on what we consume, where the data. So for me, when it comes to entering one trade and having it at TP4, if all of them trades go bust, I'm pissed because it's hit TP1, it's hit TP2, it's hit TP3, but I was greedy aiming for TP4 and I wasn't profitable. Everyone else was. So there's only just so much of the psychology you can hit there before you start seeing so many other people win, 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 win. And you're there losing, 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 losing. And I always say you can go to any other company, any other product, any other service, any other trading group, anywhere, but the issue is you're still there. You could go to a guy who's got 100% success rate for the last 96,000 years, you would still lose because it's ingrained into you to be that way because you haven't understood the emotional and the psychology part of it yet. And it's okay, it takes time. So when I do it, when I enter a trade, 4 different trades, for example, I have TP1, TP2 as my 3 of them. If the trade's here and it's hovering around and I'm checking it a little bit too much, I close the trade. I missed out on so much money this week on gold. So much. Gold ran higher than I thought it was going to do. If you want to understand, I'll show you this because I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to this side of things. Okay. Let me just share my screen. And this will show you to a T. Okay, hopefully you should be able to see my screen. Again, what I'm doing now, don't worry about. Okay. Let me just remove some of this. Okay, so this was the low. This was the new high. I wanted gold, personally, when I was looking at this, to come back down in between a 50% and a 61% retracement. Okay? It did that. It then broke. And whenever I do this personally, I always aim for this bit here, the minus 41%. Or if you invert it, it's the other way around, right? In fact, let me do the fib the opposite way. No, I did it the right way the first time. Okay. Minus 41% is where I'll typically aim for on a bigger swing. So this is a 4-hour time frame. So knowing this, it's going to typically, is it on here? Ghost feed from there to there. And we replicate that. Wow, look at that. Okay. So if we base literally the same move happened again, but here. So when you understand that trading is the same day in, day out, it does the same moves day in, day out, It's just whether we're on the right hand side of it. If we're buying, if we're selling, if it's going up, if it's going down, if it's moving left, if it's moving right, you just got to be on that right hand side of it. So, you might have seen us putting buys and sells on at the same time. The buy was already heavily in profit. It was 50, maybe 60 pips. We put a sell on to maybe catch that 20, 30 pip dip because guess what? TP1 is always 20 pips, always 30 pips. So if we can get you guys banking a little bit of extra profit as we go, that's what the whole goal is with this, is to get you to a point where you're making money, right? And every single thing that we're doing in here, again, it's to help you guys grow and scale. Because I'm telling you now, if I had this in 2018 and I wasn't paying 180 quid a month like I was before, $230 a month, man, I'd be eating this up. So that's why now, like, I'm looking at putting so much more into the school. The event, by the way, I'm not sure where you guys are from in the world, but try and keep the 23rd of November free. I'm hosting the event on the Saturday in Leeds. I've pretty much confirmed that today. They just wanted $4,000. I was like, I'm not giving you 4,000 to hire a room. It's extortionate. But 23rd of November, it'll be hosted in Leeds. It'll be a 10/11 o'clock start, so it'll give people enough time to get there. The event cost is free. It's not going to cost you guys anything to come to that event. I'm going to do some lunch and stuff there as well, so you don't have to worry about spending anything on lunch. Teas and coffees will be included. So again, just come along, bring yourselves, and it'll be good to put a face to names as well. I'll be working. Listen, I've seen you bunking sick more times than I can imagine, right? When you need to. So anyone who's working, anyone who's chatting bum sniff, saying that they can't make it because of plans that are already a month ahead, get your shift covered. Because I guarantee if it were your friends, we won't say a funeral, we'll say a wedding. I guarantee you'd be there. If it was an event you didn't want, if you couldn't miss, you'd be there. So whether people make the decision to do that, some people say, "Oh, Brad, it's a 2.5 hour drive." Yeah, it is. Brad, I live down south. It's a 4 hour drive. Yeah, it is. I used to do London events 3 times a week. Batchford, you know that because I can see you typing. I used to go down to London 3, 4 times a week, there and back, there and back, there and back, there and back, and I hated it. But the growth that I got off the side of that was insane. So again, we're going to have that event 23rd of November. It'd be great to see as many of you there as possible. I'm going to stop the recording there.